If we want to know what God's like, where should we start? We need to start in the right place. And Jesus' disciples, they asked him this question. In John chapter 14, Philip said to him, Lord, show us the Father, and it is sufficient for us. That they wanted to see the Father. They wanted to see God. They wanted to know what he was like. And Jesus' reply was that he who has seen me has seen the Father. So he told his disciples, if they want to see the Father, if they want to know what God is like, they need to look at him. They need to look at Jesus. If we want to know what our God is like, we need to look to Jesus Christ. Jesus is what God is like. Jesus reveals the Father perfectly to us. In Colossians chapter 1, verse 15, we read that he is the image of the invisible God. So the invisible God is visible in Jesus. We see just what our God is like in Jesus. In the book of Hebrews, chapter 1, verse 3, we're told that the Son is the express image of his person, of the Father's person, that he is the brightness of God's glory and the express image of his person. So God shines out towards us in his glory in Jesus. We get his express image, his exact representation in Jesus. So if we want to know what our glorious God is like, we should look to Jesus. That Jesus is God visible to us. In 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6, we read that God commanded light to shine out of darkness and has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. So God gives us the knowledge of his glory. He shows us what his glory is like when we look to the face of Jesus. If we want to know what God's like, we should look to Jesus. If we want to see the glory of God, we should look to Jesus. There's no other way to know what the glory of God is like other than looking to Jesus Christ. And that's good news for us, because it means that there is no sort of hidden God behind the back of Jesus. That when we look and see what Jesus is like, when we see the love of Jesus, when we see the mercy of Jesus, when we see the compassion of Jesus, that we can have that confidence that that's just what the Father's like, that is exactly what our God is like. We're not getting some misleading representation when we see Jesus, but we can open up the Gospels and see what Jesus is like and know what our God is truly like. In the coming videos, we're going to look at the character of God. We're going to look at his attributes, but it's good for us always to start with Jesus and see that if ever we are in doubt of what our God is like, look to Jesus and you'll see the answer in him.